Hello there, my friends. Welcome to the pod along, open bracket, not, close bracket, live. This is the highlights of our chat along live streams of twitch.tv/Dead Air Media. I am your host with the most, Danny Harrington. And what are we talking about in this pod episode? We are talking about Glastonbury, all the fallout from it, some band called Oasis. I don't know who they are. Lewis Capaldi will be mentioned. Olivia Rodrigo will be mentioned. So let's get into the pod. Glastonbury. It happened over the weekend. It's the biggest music festival, I'd say, in the world. Although it's not the one that's at the top of my list. Never been to Glastonbury. Been to a couple of music festivals. I went to Radio 1's Big Weekend this year. Saw, who did I see? Sam Fender. I saw Ed Sheeran. That was interesting. I didn't pay to watch Ed Sheeran. I didn't realize he was going to be there. He was the secret artist that everyone was talking about at the site. And he turned up on the tented stage, and it was absolutely wonderful to see Ed Sheeran. I hope my mate Callum really enjoyed it because I bought the tickets. My mum doesn't know I bought the tickets, so I better shut up. 71 quid for two of us. It was fun though. Fun weekend. Saw the Venga Boys the night before. That was also really, really fun. But we are going to start with Lewis Capaldi, who has made his triumphant return. He had a bit of a hiatus in music. He's been struggling for a while in terms of live performances and his mental health as well. And he's been. I love Lewis Capaldi. He's absolutely one of my favorites. He deserves all the love, all the praise in the world. And he's made a comeback at Glastonbury. He played a 35-minute set on the Friday. Go watch it if you're in the UK on the iPlayer. I think it's available internationally on YouTube somewhere. I don't know where BBC Music put it. I think it's on the BBC Music channel. There might be a Glastonbury channel, but obviously I'm in the UK, so BBC own it lock, stock and barrel, although they might not for much longer. The performance came just hours after he released his first new single in a while, actually. It's called Survive. It's an absolute amazing track. And it was a special moment as well. And I remember the last time he was at Glastonbury, he took the piss out of Noel Gallagher, which is always good. The Gallaghers always. I love it when anyone takes a piss out of the Gallaghers. Here is some of the things, courtesy of Yahoo! Rod Stewart, because he was one of the main headliners for Glastonbury this year. I got to be honest, didn't watch his set. We did have Pulp pop up. And Pulp's set was really good. I watched Pulp. Of course, they headlined in 1997 when the Stone Roses were meant to headline, but they capitulated and exploded and quit each other. Who else did we have? We had Wolf Alice, who I didn't see. I could have seen this year. I always get Wolf Alice and London Grammar confused. Nile Rodgers and Chic are always at Glastonbury. They will never not be at Glastonbury. I'm pretty sure they're there every single time. The Prodigy were great. I saw bits of their set, even though I've seen the Prodigy live when Keith Flint was still alive twice, and they were great. I thought their Glastonbury set paid homage very well to Mr. Keith Flint. And, of course, Robert Smith was there of The Cure, supporting Olivia Rodrigo. But here's what I love about Olivia Rodrigo, and I've watched part of her set, not watched the whole thing. I think I've watched about 40 minutes of it, and I thought she was great. She's won a lot of new fans as well, of people that thought that she was too pop-tastic. There was criticism, because there always is with Glastonbury headliners. The title from the Metro newspaper is Glastonbury 2025 Sunday highlights. Olivia Rodrigo defended after closing headline slot, branded biggest mistake. Yeah, but that's what they said about SZA last year. Was SZA the wrong headline act for Sunday? Yes, she was. But she wasn't a bad Glastonbury headliner. She should have headlined on the Friday. Dua Lipa should have done the Saturday, and Coldplay should have done the Sunday. Or Dua Lipa do the Sunday and Coldplay stay on the Saturday. That's what should have happened last year. But they have a habit now, apparently, of British Summertime Festival headliners on the Saturday, then going to Glastonbury on the Sunday, because SZA played BST last year, the day before a Glastonbury set. And by all means, everyone that went to a BST set said that it was better than a Glastonbury set. I know Glastonbury is seen as a rock music festival. You have to have some mainstream acts on there to sell tickets. Music festivals are capitalistic endeavors. You have to make some degree of money. You have to invite a younger audience. How do you get that? Well, you get the artists that they're talking about. I would not be surprised. There's no Glastonbury next year, by the way, because it's a fallow year, so the land can recover. But I wouldn't be surprised in 2027 if they had somebody like Sabrina Carpenter. Let's focus on something that is actually completely awesome. And Glastonbury is one of the biggest music festivals in the world. Despite its commercialization, it has general undertones of kind of left-wing hippie culture. And by the way, if anyone doesn't like the left-wing hippie culture of undertones of Glastonbury, then don't fucking watch Glastonbury. Don't fucking watch it. If the BBC have a problem with the artists that they book, don't fucking broadcast it. There's a fucking... Let somebody else broadcast it. Let ITV broadcast it. They can shove it on ITVX. Everything. They can shove everything on ITVX. Or let Channel 4 have it. If you're going to get all in a tiff about Kneecap and what artists they put on and what they're going to say at Glastonbury. If you don't like the left-wing hippie festival, don't broadcast the left-wing hippie festival. It's really that simple. But anyway, I digress. The left-wing hippie festival that I totally like, I would go to Glastonbury in all honesty. I would love to go. I just don't have the money and they've made it unaffordable. But one music festival that is top of my list, and I think is better than Glastonbury, is Tomorrowland. Tomorrowland, if you don't know, it's this massive dance music festival in Belgium. They do international versions. There's one in America now. I think it's in Vegas. And they do, like, they've got their own, like, media empire. They got radio stations. The thing is, if you are a fan of Tomorrowland and you went to go watch, one of the greatest sets in Tomorrowland history was from the late but great Avicii. And that performance is now going to be made available. Tomorrowland has partnered with Apple Music to release Avicii's sets from 2012, 2014, and his last set from 2015. And I think it was either the 2014 or 2015 set that is kind of considered from people that were there and general fans of the Tomorrowland Festival as one of the greatest sets in that festival's history. I wish I'd been there. Tomorrowland is still top of my list. It's going to be available to watch for the first time ever. The sets are now streaming exclusively on Apple Music. Of course, it's a decade since he last performed at Tomorrowland and the late but great Avicii, of course. But in addition to this digital release, Tomorrowland this year is going to feature a dedicated 144 square meter installation to honor the late but great Tim Bergling. Oasis are back for the first time in 15 years. First time in 15 years, my goodness me. Oasis are back. I cannot wait for this. I cannot wait for the fallout from this. I don't have tickets to go see this Oasis Live 2025 tour. So my money is on them punching each other during the first song and then cancelling the entire tour as a bitter act of jealous revenge on those that do have tickets. And I do know a few people that are going because you know what, to be fair to them, they're probably bigger Oasis fans than I am. I'm much more of a Stone Roses man myself. I love the Stone Roses. And by the way, if there's ever an argument as about, how Oasis got their name, it is for definite, and I've heard this from the ex-lead singer of In Spiral Carpets, who Noel Gallagher used to roadie for. Oasis, as a band, definitely named after the abandoned leisure centre in Swindon, called the Oasis. Because it was a part... Not me saying this. This is the ex-lead singer of In Spiral Carpets who said that the tour that Noel Gallagher was on, that he roadied for, they played the Oasis in Swindon, and he had that tour poster in his room. And he thought, probably, that's a cool name. So that's where it comes from, apparently. Now, I'm going to claim that because I'm a Swindonian. And it means that Swindon is linked once again to the greatest band, or one of the greatest bands of all time. Or if you're a Beatles fan, a Beatles tribute act, Lidl, the supermarket. So it does relate to Oasis because they've launched this kind of Oasis-inspired jacket as a part of their fashion range, which is called, by the way, Lidl by Lidl. Obvious reference to Little by Little by Oasis. So this is being advertised outside the Etihad Stadium in Manchester, where, of course, you know, the Gallaghers are Manchester City fans and loving life because Manchester City aren't shit. And I don't think they ever were. They were never any good when Oasis were a band originally. Because when did they split up? 2009? That was just on the cusp of Manchester City getting bought up by very wealthy people, aka the Emiratis. And then after that, they became all conquering and all dominant. But during Oasis's peak, Manchester City were shite and playing Gillingham in playoff finals in 2002 in Division 2. That's Manchester City to me. But, you know, so this jacket advertised outside the Etihad Stadium comes with drink cooling pockets, a bottle opener that doubles as a zipper, a branded badge, and has a tambourine attached, just in case you're ever caught short. And it's a charity thing, by the way. It's all proceeds going to the NSPCC, which is a great charity. The launch, by the way, a viral moment last year when Liam Gallagher wore a jacket during his Icons campaign, promoting fans to compare the colour scheme to Lidl branding. So it has a Lidl kind of feel to this jacket, which has been launched by them as a part of Oasis. They're not the only German supermarket to jump on this whole Oasis thing because as we covered on Monday, the Aldi in Manchester has rebranded itself as Aldi. It's Aldi now. So 30 quid, by the way, if you want to get this jacket, which is a kind of a rip-off of a Parker jacket. And I'm sure no one that makes those jackets would ever consider suing Lidl for that. I mean, it's not like supermarkets have been sued for stupid reasons at any point. So this is one of the big Oasis stories of the week. But the biggest one is that, of course, with Oasis being back, streams are up for Oasis songs by a staggering 750%. Who says they're still not popular? You know, I once met somebody that had never heard of them, that had never heard of Noel Gallagher or Liam Gallagher. Of course, they're a kid, but still, you know, I was like, how have you never heard of the Gallaghers? Have you never heard of Oasis? So within an hour of them, if you go all the way back, announcing their tour, the band's streams went up 750%. And that was just me listening whilst I was waiting to get tickets. I didn't get them, obviously. Sarah Mansfield, head of creative and retail marketing at Big Brother Recordings, which is their record label, by the way, said that the excitement didn't stop there. There were over 11 million Oasis streams on the day the tickets went on sale. And before the news broke last summer, only a handful of Oasis tickets were performing, Oasis songs were performing well on streaming platforms. So basically, them announcing that they came back, that they're coming back, basically revitalized their streaming numbers and did pretty much what this tour was meant to do, make them a shit ton of money. Although, if you are going, Heaton Park is going to be fucking immense. I will say that. It looks like that's going to be the one to go to because they're going to have over 100,000 people there. It's going to be absolutely massive and amazing to see that gig at Heaton Park. Compared, by the way, to contemporaries like Coldplay and Imagine Dragons, their digital presence has been relatively modest up until that point. And beyond streaming, the band's physical sales, particularly in vinyl, have been quite staggering in terms of how much they've sold. And Oasis kick off their tour. Well, they've already kicked it off, apparently. 8:15, they were meant to be on stage. This was in no particular order. It wasn't in a particular order. It's just about like 10 songs to listen to get you either back in the groove, or if you've never listened to Oasis or you've never heard Oasis before, these are 10 tracks to listen to. Wonderwall, not on the list because everybody's heard that track at some point. You've been at a wedding, somebody's played it, and you know the words to it, or you basically know the chorus, and that's it. And I'm just not enamored by Wonderwall. I think it's overplayed. It's not my favorite Oasis track personally, but So on the list we wrote Half the World Away, which is a cracking track from what was it? The B-side to Rock and Roll Star. It was on the Master Plan, which is just an album of B-sides from 1998. What else did we have? We had I'm trying to remember my own list that I wrote. Lila, which I think is probably one of my favorite of the more modern tracks. Although I do like the album Dig Out Your Soul. Dig Out Your Soul is a very good album. And I'm trying to remember the I can remember the words of the track. I can't remember the name, which is I'm gonna have to look for it on Spotify because it's so good. Love is a time machine up on the silver screen. What the is it good time? I can't remember the song. Honestly, can't remember. Those were the lyrics, but it's from their last album, Dig Out Your Soul. I personally do not want new Oasis material, and I hope they don't make a new album. I really don't. I don't want them to make a new album. That is for sure. Shock of the Lightning. The Shock of the Lightning. That is one of my newer favorites. Shock of the Lightning. That's it. I think my favorite. I don't know what my favorite Oasis track of all time is. I mean, I like Do You Know What I Mean? I like Stand By Me. I like Champagne Supernova. I can't really decide. I like Hello. That's a great track. I think Be Here Now as an album is incredibly underrated. No one likes Be Here Now for some reason, or they certainly didn't back when it was released. I like their album. I like their third album. I like the track Be Here Now as well, which I think some people would say is shit, but I like that track. I think it's a good track. Live Forever, Cigarettes and Alcohol. Stand By Me, great track. 1997, Be Here Now. Stand By Me, one of the best tracks. Although, saying that, like, a lot of people did not like that album, which I don't get because I love that album. I think it was a great album. I genuinely do think it was a fabulous album. If you look at what they've both been through, Noel's got divorced, so he definitely needs the money. He got divorced like a year ago. Liam's been about, I mean, his solo stuff was okay, I thought, to a degree, but it doesn't really seem to have struck a chord. Although his second solo album, I thought was really good. But hey ho, clearly it wasn't selling for the record labels. But he did release that 2 solo albums. Are we getting a new album? No. Hopefully no. No. I don't want new Oasis stuff. Just like I didn't want new Stone Roses when they were on tour and they released that god awful. There is a Stone Roses track called It's a Beautiful Thing, and it's the fucking worst track they ever made. And it was made in about 2016. 2015, 2016. They did All for One, which Oasis, Stone Roses purists don't like. I like it because I left uni to that song, so I like that song because I left uni and then that song came out. But Beautiful Thing by Stone Roses is their worst fucking track. And remember, The Second Coming is apparently one of the worst albums ever made. Apparently. I like it, but I see where people don't like it because it's a mix of Manchester and Britpop, and the album, they couldn't decide what they wanted it to be. Jess, want to hear a joke? GNR Live, go for it. Yeah, I mean, I don't think we're getting a new Oasis album. I think they will, because Noel knows like John Squire and Ian Brown from the Stone Roses. I think they'll learn from that, because remember, Noel Gallagher went on Soccer AM, must have been in like 2015, and he was asked directly, what are the Stone Roses like? What are the Stone Roses doing? And he just went blooming. They're blooming on new music. So I don't think Oasis will make another album. Their album sales towards the end for like Dig Out Your Soul were not great. Guns N' Roses, yeah. I've heard. Axl's voice is shot. Didn't Axl also join AC/DC? Am I making that up? Didn't he replace... Because their lead singer had tinnitus and he was going deaf. So didn't Axl Rose join AC/DC for a bit? Axl's voice is shot, says Jess. Slash looks like he's phoning it in. I mean, Slash has been phoning it in for a while. I mean, he's kind of lost his passion. And the only good member is their new drummer, and he's only there for the check. I don't blame him. You know what? If you're offered a shit ton of money to go on tour with Guns N' Roses, you fucking take the money. He did 2 tours with AC/DC and he nailed it then. But that's because I think, and as the kind of BBC article was saying with Mark Savage, when you get to a certain point, you are just phoning it in to a point because you're just like, I'm here to make money. Here's freaking Live and Let Die, our version of Live and Let Die for the millionth time, which, by the way, is the superior version of the song. I don't like the Wings version. The Guns N' Roses version is the superior version. I will die on that fucking hill if I have to. Wimbledon's been going on. John Cena was there, although I couldn't see him. Apparently, so was Olivia Rodrigo. And if you didn't know, before her Glastonbury set on the Sunday, she was playing British Summertime Festival at Hyde Park, and she brought out Ed Sheeran as a guest. And apparently Ed Sheeran's been sharing the kind of backstory of how they met, how they know each other. And the 34-year-old singer-songwriter, unannounced appearance at the BST Hyde Park headline show on the Saturday. And the two performed the A-Team, not the theme to the TV show. I mean the Ed Sheeran song, the A-Team, which I think this is the second surprise Ed Sheeran appearance after the first being Radio 1's Big Weekend, where he appeared on kind of the new music stage, or the new music tent, as a surprise artist. Because I was there. I watched it. It was great. I was there live. He was fantastic. Never thought in the world I'd see Ed Sheeran, because he's not an artist that I would pay to go watch generally. And I'm not a fan of stadium gigs. I like more intimate settings. But when you get to a certain level, like Ed Sheeran's got to, you don't really do those things, those kind of gigs anymore. And that's what he was saying, actually, when he was on stage. I never really get to play these kind of small tents at music festivals anymore. I'm always on the main stage. And he just wanted to play a smaller, more intimate gig, which I think Radio X kind of do that kind of thing. They get a major artist to perform kind of in front of like 400 to 500, 600 people at like the O2 Academies in London, or one of the O2 Academies in London, or a smaller venue, maybe at the global headquarters in Leicester Square. But after the show, Sheeran took to Instagram to celebrate the moment and reflect on their connection between Ed Sheeran and Olivia Rodrigo. And he said, quote, "I've been a fan of Olivia's since Driver's License blew my mind back at the start of 2021. And said, both albums, Sour and Guts, are no-skip albums for me. I'm a proper fan." What is the last no-skip album that you heard? Because mine's controversial. Because I think there's tracks on every album that's very skippable. And I think the last one I heard, I mean, the one I love the most is the Stone Roses debut album, but there are skippable tracks on that. That's probably my favorite album of all time, but I think there's 2 skippable tracks on that, which one is Don't Stop, because it's just the reverse of the track ahead of it, which is genius if you want to waste time on an album, then just reverse the previous song. And that's what the Stone Roses did on their debut album, because they made Don't Stop, which is just waterfall backwards with new lyrics added to it. Thank you for watching or listening to the pod wherever you get your podcasts from: Spotify, Apple, Amazon, I really don't care as long as you listen. Hello, thank you very much for listening. Don't forget our live streams, in all seriousness, are here on twitch.tv/Dead Air Media. Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays, 8 p.m, whatever the British time is. It's BST at the moment, but it might be GMT soon. I don't know when the clocks change, but I will see you next time.